Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And I hope you had a delightful time during the lunchtime. And now we are about to start our afternoon session about China advocacy. I hope some of you who you are still standing there, please come forward and take your seats. Okay? Thank you. Obviously, while we are still expecting more audience to come over, I have to start this session with the introduction of, we have 3 female speakers. You know, obviously I'm a minority on the stage, but we will have a very interesting session. I know quite a lot of people in the last 2 days are quite interested about how all the groups in China carrying our work in China, and they are thinking about challenges and opportunities on both sides. Will feel, oh, you are great. The team has been great doing such a great work in China. Well, thinking about all the challenges and opportunities different organizations, different individuals are facing differently, I'm sure that they have their own approaches and strategies in facing these challenges and discovering their own strength and move forward. Today we have 3 speakers from different groups. Obviously, in terms of the size of the groups are quite different. And they would like to share with us how they advocate for animal welfare and related topics in China. And first of all, I think all of you are quite familiar with Shirley from ProVeg. We have been sharing about our experiences in China yesterday before the opening ceremony. And today, she will explain more about their work in terms of the advocacy part. Let's welcome Shirley Lu come onto the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jeff, for the kind introduction. I'm Shirley Lu, Managing Director of ProVeg International. I'm also Chief China Representative. Thank you for your interest in this session, how we advocate in China. I'm going to show you consumer research we conducted this year. It's focusing on Chinese consumers' attitude and awareness about plant-based food. So we advocate from the angle of the food and the diet. Okay, so before the research results, let me briefly introduce our organization, ProVeg International. Why we exist, right? I think this audience is familiar about the impact of animal agriculture, not only green gas emissions, but also the consumption of arable land and also fresh waters. In Asia, we have 60% of population, so these natural resources are very precious to us. We need to find a smarter way, efficient way to provide consumers with healthy and nutritious food. And also on the animal side, I think now you are familiar with the data as huge numbers of marine and also land animals slaughtering and suffering. Yeah, on public health, overuse of antibiotics. Over lunch, I've heard that there is also growing awareness in Southeast Asia about the issues. Therefore, we need alternatives. ProVeg supports all 3 types of alternatives. Protein-rich ingredients, protein-rich plant ingredients, and also plant-based alternatives and cell agricultures. We are a food awareness organization, and we hope that through innovations of plant-based food and cellular agriculture, we can reduce our dependency on animal agriculture. We think that the solutions of the new protein is good for health and also good for food security, for animal welfare, for our environment, and it's delicious. What do we do actually? So you heard about the ProVeg incubator, and also that Sebastian presented the Kickstart for Good programs. We also run the investor pitch to support these startups. With established food companies, we run the Food Innovation Challenge. Please scan the QR code and share with your friends. This program brings together established food and beverage companies with college students to co-create sustainable food solutions. And with our network with these companies, big companies, startups. We also have a young professional in sustainable protein programs. This one is more focusing on China. Okay, so let's get into now the research findings. What are the key barriers in the green food movement? Awareness, okay. Sorry? Okay, lack of awareness, exactly, yes. The key issues in the green food movement, number one, lack of awareness. Awareness about what? Let's get into more specifics. Awareness about the benefits of plant-rich diets or misperception. So we share the same observations. Therefore, we conducted this research. We want to validate it. Most importantly, we want to know that once consumers become aware, how will that change their behaviors? So this research is designed to find out consumers' awareness about plant-rich, plant-based food benefits, and also to validate some communication messages. We hope that this information can help plant-based food companies to sharpen their communication message, to increase their success in the marketplace. We also hope that these findings can be used by all of you, to increase also the effectiveness of your program. The design of this research was conducted by Kantar. Now, those who do consumer research, you know that Kantar is a reputable research company. So this research is not only just with AVA participants. Okay, this research, we designed the respondent carefully. It's focusing on the tier 1 cities. China is big. Now, these cities are trendsetters. So we focus on Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, 1,000 households. And we carefully designed the structure of the respondents by gender, by age, by household incomes, and also non-rejecter of plant-based food. This is more about if they are reject, means this group, I think at least for the time being, there's no chance. But we focusing on those who are open to plant-based food. So the design of the research is first stage. We want to understand their awareness defined by agree, disagree of the plant-based food benefit statements. And then in stage 2, we inform them that these statements are all from peer-reviewed solid research. These are facts. And given these facts, will their attitude change in transition to plant-rich diet? Would you like to know the result? Are you interested to know the results? And then through a cross-tabulation, we can find out that to which group it will be most effectively, and also what the communication approach should be to convert the behavior. First of all, so in the 3 cities, the diet patterns, currently that vegan, vegetarian is close to 3%, 2.5%. This trend has been consistent over the last 10 years. I have reference to a government research with 100,000 samples in Shanghai. So in the last 10 years, these numbers hover around 2 to 3%. But the flexitarians account for over 30%. I think this is a promising base. We like to accelerate the trend. So as I said, that this research is to first find out awareness about their consumers' awareness about the benefits of plant-rich diets. What benefits? So ProVeg has this 5-Pro framework, and we found through the international research, we found 8 benefit support statements that can be supported by research, 8 benefit statements in health, 3 in environment, and also some statements in food security, etc. All these statements, as I said, that can be backed up by peer-reviewed research. We put these statements into research to ask consumers by agree, disagree. And we found that across the 15 statements, the awareness level is at 49%. We like to brand this as a ProVeg Impact Index. Our job is to raise the awareness from 49 to as high as possible and as fast as possible, working with you. Right, so the top 5 statements, you can see that, it again validates that consumers are more concerned about health benefits to them. So see that the statements with the more specific benefits, number 1, cardiovascular disease, reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. All the benefits in specific nutrients, iron, calcium, these are rated higher. Interestingly, that number 5 is about taste. So consumers that agree, over 50% of the consumers that they agree that plant-rich diets offer wide varieties of flavors from fruits, vegetables, and the satisfying meals. So consumers, they accept that plant ingredients provide flavorful taste. So it's up to manufacturers, food service operators to come up to products, menu recipes to satisfy the needs. Top 6 to 10 benefits, and also then the bottom 5 benefits. Based on these results, then as I said in the second stage, we inform consumers that the statements they just rated, agree, disagree, are facts. And what their attitude in terms of transition. So 57% across the respondents indicated it's a 5-point scale. So indicated very willing for the transition. And among flexitarians, it's 64%. For those who do consumer research, top 5 points, top box is strongly agree. So this level of willingness for transition, after aware about the benefits, this is very encouraging. Yeah, we can also see that top 2 box then is 98%. Okay, so 2 takeaway from these findings. Number 1 is once consumers are aware about the benefit to themselves, to broader environment, the willingness to transition is very, very high. Secondly, it also validates about the flexitarians that has higher tendency, willingness for the transition. It's a group that in terms of conversion, this should be the group that we focus on. Based on the findings, we also asked consumers the top 5 motivators, the top 5 benefits. Therefore, this metric shows strong agreement, strong awareness, strong persuasion benefits, and also low agreement and strong persuasion benefits. Benefits like antibiotic resistance, this awareness was still low. However, once consumers knows, in terms of motivation, persuasion for conversion is high. So it's a benefit that manufacturers can leverage. Right. And for each of the quadrant, benefits in each of the quadrant, we make some recommendations on communication strategies for brands, for manufacturers, and also for the advocacy groups. Okay, my time is running out. So in the research, we also asked about the triggers and also barriers. I think these triggers and barriers, we are not familiar with these factors, but the importance of this research is that we put a number behind it, okay? And as I mentioned that because of the solid sample size, we can also do cross-tabulations in terms of demographics, in genders, in income level, current diet patterns, their media behaviors, education. So this will help the brands to do more targeted marketing efforts. The strategies that we recommend to brand on communications, on target profile, and also touch points. Yeah. How do we use the research, right? Conduct research, and before we conduct research, we think about how we're going to use the information. With the information, we launch a PR campaign. We use it in the CEO forum. Currently, the food service sector is soft in China, so we encourage all the manufacturers, the brands, to come back to the basics, to understand consumer needs, and to find out a way to not only meet, but delight consumers' needs. Some media coverage from the state media and also key media. If you are interested to find out more details, you can scan the QR code and to download the report. It's available in English and also Chinese. Okay, this slide is the campaign we are running now. The deadline is November 20th. So I encourage you, I also request you, I seek your support to help us spread the word. Now, ultimately, it's about what we do in the marketplace. So we want to accelerate, work with the food industry to create impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. I just want to ask every one of you keep sharing this QR code for the promotion of this context and hope you have a good result. I feel so sorry that I took up a couple of minutes time for before Shirley's presentation. And fortunately, we only have 3 speakers today, and we have some time at the end for QR session. So just a kind reminder, if you have any questions related to these three speakers during their time, just feel free to send them on Hua, so we can get communicated with them during the last session. And the next speaker is Dani. Honestly, before I decided to do the introduction, I have thought about read up all the introductions on Hua, but I know that you all recognize what is written about. I would like to just have a brief introduction. During just a communication just now, she told me that she has founded her own organization. It's a small one, but before it was focused on the sustainability side. And now just started to move on to the animal welfare and global warming side. So it's an interesting experience for us to understand why and how she proceed with her work. Let's welcome Dani on the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dani, and very happy to be here, able to share my experience in facilitating China's animal advocacy. So, I'd like to start with this question for you guys. So, which celebrity is not a vegan among these 5? Could you please let me know? I trust you guys. No? So, sorry, I released the answer. So, okay, but I believe you are all vegan pro. So the right answer is Peter Dinklage. So he's not a vegan. So this is something I found very fascinating to do, to design experience, process, smaller as a small question, bigger as a conference, exhibition, and a workshop. So one of my roles is facilitator. I like to facilitate chance for people to rethink, to reflect, and eventually they are able to react on important matters. So in 2020, I set up a small organization called Impact, meaning packed with impact. And we started with a small group providing content, podcast on sustainability, and we were spreading the word around China quite quick. And it didn't take me too long to actually get a lot of followers on the social media. But then I started to feel struggle. I was struggling about this consumer-centric narrative because on the bright side, actually I received a lot of followers. It feels like really, really self-fulfilled because, a lot of followers and, this kind of collective individualism really make me feel proud. But at the same time, I also received some negative feedback asking me whether you are shifting the responsibility from government, corporate, to individual. And to consume sustainably, it seems very privileged. I need to be rich or like middle class so that I can consume organic food, for example. So what kind of stand you have to judge me on that matter? So this really made me reflect on my approach, whether I was kind of indirectly abandoning the largest persuadable middle who are actually not movable to altruism, actually, and they need more stimulation to be able to find the agency to act. So reflecting on that, since last year, our organization started to shift from this narrative to a more citizen-centric narrative. And we are now choosing 2 of the most impressing issues in the world right now, which are climate change and farm animal advocacy. And we're using collective activism to target key change makers in younger generation. So for farm animal advocacy, today I'm going to introduce you a new program that we are developing right now. It's called Animal with 2 Legs and Beyond. It's translated from Chinese, 两脚兽与它. So it's a transformative learning workshop. You may wonder what is that. So based on my previous research, I I started to discover that actually for everyone, if you want to change your behavior deeply or transformatively, you have to go through this basic 3 levels from the very superficial level, superficial level, you learn how to do things better. You want to improve your efficiency. And then you try to move to the middle, doing better things. You try to figure out which approach or strategy you want to choose. And eventually, if you really want to shift your established value, you want to see things differently. So as a facilitator, my job is to design this process to facilitate people to be able to reach the later stage. So I came up with this facilitating framework. So starting with knowing, in this specific farm animal focused workshop, we started with quiz game. So if you ever travel to Europe, you might be familiar with this format that you go to a bar and you team up with strangers or with your friends, and then you compete with each other on some themed questions. So in this session, the participants, they are separated into different teams, and they are provided with different rounds of game. And also, for example, they are asked to identify 2 false statements from 6 statements, from some interesting concepts such as climate tax, superbugs, healthy issues, environmental issues, to some interesting animal laws or social customs around the world. They are able to immerse themselves in playing and also learning something new. And also, they are also asked to match farm animal with certain tools that are applied to these animals in dense factory farming. These tools are either to improve their welfare, such as cow brush, or things to control them to improve the economic outcome. So by attending this session, the participants, they are able to actually learn things during this board game. And it's their first time try to, maybe do something to handle their bias on this matter. And I also found that when people perceive things emotionally, it can actually reshape their established value. But it's really, really challenging for us to design something that can make people connect with cross-species animals, especially for these often overlooked farm animals. So how can we do that? How can we find a common, basic, or instinctive common ground that can connect people with a chicken, a cow, a pig emotionally? So I think limiting people's movement or taking away their freedom from a very basic behavioral level is one of the simple things to start. So in this session, I ask people to role play. So they are given some headgear to wear to become a chicken. And then following my narration and some background music and some setting decoration, they are experiencing the change of living condition of different farming practices, from free range to bar raised to caged. So it is the first time for most of the participants to simulate a chicken's life. So most of them, they have heard the terrible story many times from the press that chickens, they are living horribly in some one A4 size space, but they don't know how does it feel. So I try to use the method to let them use the body to actually feel how it's going to be living in such a limited space. And so for the next session, I wanted to challenge their old thinking and eventually maybe able to challenge their self-existency, but which is really, really difficult, because one participant actually afterwards, she came to me, she says, "Oh, Dani, I wasn't very sure if I should sign up for your workshop because, I was not ready to engage in some serious topic or debate in a day off." And I totally understand that. Everybody want to have some fun experience where they're learning on a weekend. So keeping that in mind, when I designed this session, firstly, I tried to find some theoretic framework that can help me to separate people during the session. So this is one of the frameworks that I'm using, which is to let people to vote on this spectrum, which perspective is closer to what they believe, from animal right to animal welfare to animal use. And I put this four statement on the side for people to vote. After they voted, I separated them to different groups and making sure that in each group, there are people holds contrasting perspectives. Because I believe a bit of healthy conflict is really helpful to open new possibilities or new avenues for us. After I separated the room, I introduced another theory, which is moral expansiveness scale. I believe most of you have heard of this, especially for EA community. This actually inspired me a lot. It's an experiment done by a group of scientists in the US. They're trying to figure out how much moral care different subjects deserve. So in this session, I translated this theory to on-site practice. So people are asked to rank with their team members. And I introduced some interesting subjects such as AI robot, alien, or insect. And interestingly, actually, I found some similarity and also some differencing from Chinese audience to the original experiment. I found that actually Chinese people often rank plant, environment, and insect really, really high. And I think this subject deserves more moral concern, even more than individual species such as dog, cat, or pig. So this is actually very surprising for me to learn. I guess from my personal interpretation is that in China, people are really care for, yin and yang balance is kind of ecologic thinking. So this might be interesting to look deep into it, to make it into a formal research in the future. So following knowing, feeling, and being, the last part, as you may expect, is acting. In this session, I introduced some impact framework for people to write down some potential actions they can take in the future, from personal level, community level, to like society level. And then they return to the group to be reviewed by the team members, to be asked questions such as, what's the most challenging one? What kind of support you need? So they know actually there is a supporting community for them out there. And even after this session, the last part, I will give them a take-home gift, which is a bingo challenge card. Actually, I have some with me. I translated in English, so feel free to come to me to have a take-home gift. So in this way, people, when they leave this very event, they're able to actually take some small action to celebrate by themselves and also to update the progress with the group. So I designed this workshop as an experiment for me to say whether understanding how animals are suffering can actually help us understanding ourselves. So seeing animals, seeing oneself is the slogan that I designed for this very workshop. And this is just a beginning of my journey to this animal movement. I'm quite new to this whole movement, so I'm always looking for opportunities that I can connect with people, to work full-time, or to get some opportunities to scale up my impact. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dani, for this very encouraging presentation, and good luck with your programs. And following next is a presentation by Jia Wei. Actually, she is representing the China Vegan Society, which was founded by Dr. Jian Yi, who is also one of my very good friends in this area. And I felt very encouraged when I firstly seen his documentary about what's for food, like a decade ago. And then with the progress of this his idea. I mean, he set up this society. I know quite a a few of you have spoken about this forthcoming China Vegan Summit, which will take place in China in a couple of days. And I hope you all enjoy your experience with the workshop there and the conference there. And let's welcome Jiawei to share us more about this event and what's going on with China Vegan Society. Welcome. Thank you. Oh, sorry. By the way, just to keep encouraging you to share your questions on Hua so we can communicate better with the speakers.
Thank you, Jeff. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jiawei Zhu from the CVS. So first of all, I want to introduce what is CVS to you guys. So CVS is an abbreviation of the China Vegan Society, and the Chinese name is called Hua Mang Hui. So this Chinese character we use here is actually quite interesting. So as you can see, it is grouped up with 4 same Chinese characters, 车. So this 车, in its original meaning, it's actually plentiful. So one character 车 means plentiful, and 2 characters pronounced 草 also means plentiful, and 3 characters pronounced hui, and 4 characters pronounced mang means more and more plentiful. It's just like the evolution of from non-vegan to vegan step by step. So be more and more mang means be more and more vegan. So veganism is not only about the diet, it's more like a lifestyle containing vegan diet, environmental protection, animal welfare, and the health. So this mang can also represent these 4 concepts. It's just like a puzzle. To put them together, we can make a whole picture of the veganism. So what does CVS do exactly? We have a vegan certification. As you can see here, these 4 labels represent vegan food, vegan and pungent-free food, vegetarian food, and vegan and cruelty-free cosmetics, respectively. So why we are doing this vegan certification in China? For vegan customers, they have a need for a label that informs them what they can eat. And for the general public, this label can serve as a promotional tool similar to the halal food label, which alerts people to the existence of this type of food. And we doesn't have this kind of certification in China before. So to fill the gap, CVS used professional testing agency aligned with certification authorities from EU, Korea, and Japan, join forces with numerous enterprises to launch China's first vegan certification system. So actually, here today, we have one of our certified enterprises, Whisper, on site. So if you want to know more about how is this certification used in practice, you can talk to Mr. Guo over there afterwards. So during the pandemic in 2022, in order to making connections and breaking the deadlock, we held our first vegan summit online. We have 68 global guests and advocates, and there is over 35,000 viewers during the 2-day online conferences. So these are the pictures of our attendees attended our first vegan summit. And this is our second vegan summit. So we held our second vegan summit offline in Suzhou, China. And we are going to have our third vegan summit this year, coming very soon, on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of October, just right after this AFAD summit. And the location is also in Suzhou, China. So if anyone is interested in the summit, can reach out to me afterwards. So the Vegan Summit is a showcase of a vegan lifestyle, while city fairs delve deeper into each city, inviting people to step in and experience vegan life. So these are the vegan city fairs pictures. On our vegan city fairs, you can do networking, you can sell vegan products, promoting brands and groups. We have vegan food there, and we have eco-friendly handicrafts, and we have lots of interesting activities, such as swap, and movie, open mic, sports, workshops, and these fair will also be included in this year's summit. So we successfully organized multiple fairs in collaboration across 10 cities, including Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Wuhan, Nanjing, Chongqing, Harbin, Kunming, Dali, Beijing, and Shanghai this year in China. Over 1,500 brands participated in these events. And on the bottom, you can see these are some of the brands participated us this year. So thank you.
Thank you, Jiawei. Okay, now thank you for keeping the time right, and we have 13 minutes for Q&As, and obviously I have already got a couple of them on Fua, but please keep sharing if you have more questions. I would take this time, I think the question to Shirley is, since the consumer survey only included non-rejecters of plant-based proteins, I would like to know if you have captured the proportion of survey respondents who have identified otherwise as rejecters of plant-based proteins. Oh, please. Take your seat if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, I'm happy for you to, to join me standing here. Make it formal. Okay, please. Yeah, it's okay. I don't need that. Okay, please. Okay, Shirley, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Great question. Who raised the question? May I know your name? Thank you. Your name? Thank you. Okay, very professional questions. I think it depends on the size, the proportion of the rejector. Okay, if the proportion of the rejector is small, then it doesn't switch the result. So I'll find out. I don't remember the percentage of the plant ingredient rejector. However, we all know that Chinese food or Vietnamese foods, our food is basically quite plant rich. So I assume the portion of plant ingredient rejector would be low. Therefore, it would not affect the outcome. Okay, I'll find it out for you. So after the meeting, let's connect. Thank you.
Okay, and next question is for Jiawei. How many food producers or processors have earned a Vegan Summit certification? Do you know that?
Pardon?
Okay, how many food producers and processors have earned Vegan Summit certification?
I think there is more than 20 brands have already joined us.
Okay. I noticed in your presentation slides there are several labels with different ingredients included. How is that used currently on the products in the market?
Yes, in the market, but they haven't. Some of them has already used in the market. For example, like the Vegan Arc. They have already used our certification label on their products, but some are still precising their new products. Yes, yeah.
Okay, when this certification scheme started?
It has started from last year.
Last year.
Yeah,
so
last year.
I think it's still at the beginning. It's great example. And I suppose since last year, it takes some time for application, verification, and also the promotion in the market, right, for people to understand. But I don't know, maybe just until now, you mentioned about 20 already?
Yes.
Okay, so hopefully, I'm sure that this number will increase very rapidly. We get more, obviously, we get more questions here. Is it harder to influence supply and demand through consumer campaigns in China with the command economy? Command economy. I don't know if it's a typo or command economy. Or anyone raise the question? Can you explain a little bit?
With current economy, does that mean? Is that what you mean?
I don't know. Possibly.
Okay. Right. So yes, after COVID, we know that the economy has become more conservative, and it affects food service sectors, the performance of plant-based food. It's across the board, no, not only to plant-based food. And plant-based food is such a new sector in the food industry. So I think you also see that some of the startups they had to exit. But with this background, I think it shows also more value of the research, because the researcher goes back to understand consumers' needs. We also hope that the findings of the research give manufacturers more confidence, because the needs is there. Once consumers are aware about the benefits, their interest is high. And yeah, as evidenced by the research. Right, so the current food service sector is soft, but I think we come back down, the consumer needs are there. It's up to the brands now, how can they come up with a better product and also more the value for money, and also the accessibility in terms of channel, and more importantly, application that will fit in consumers' food repertoire every day.
Yes, I think you just explained actually the question that I prepared for you is about the trend. I wouldn't say trend, but the situation in China in the last years, especially during the COVID period. Quite a few of the brands, well-known brands, international ones like alternative protein producers make the decision of leaving China. When we felt, actually, according to the survey, with the quite positive result from the consumers' side, they are very interested in knowing more about this alternative protein products. Well, I was wondering, how do you think is the best approach to make the two sides, reconcile with each other? Well, you just explained we're expecting the producers to have better idea in terms of localizing their product, in terms of flavor, in terms of design, and have some more initiatives to think about how can their products be better received by the consumers. Yeah, I think you have answered this question, and I think following that will be a question for Dani. Thanks. I'm trying to scroll. I love this creative campaign to raise awareness. Is there any English adaptation of this program?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think it depends on, is there any need? It's not a big problem to translation and to adapt it into different cultural contexts. And I think it's a very fundamental, it's like a very fundamental, how to say, I designed it from a very fundamental perspective from human being, not only for Chinese, because I think to discuss or engage with a human and animal relationship is something we all like species need to consider. So I am open to all possibilities. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sure that during your presentation at the latest last slides, there was the take-home gift.
Yeah.
puzzle thing? Or?
Yeah, it's like a bingo card.
Yeah, the bingo card.
Yeah.
And that was translated into English
Yeah,
already.
it's English
and
version.
It's available.
Yeah.
After this session, you are free to go to Dani for asking
Yeah.
for one copy of that.
Yeah.
And your presentation just reminded me of a kind of Chinese proverb about 寓教于乐, which is integrating, making the education or passing the message, making it in a fun way, right? So I think people are tired of being taught or being educated. It's more about making yourself be a part of this process and learn from this happy experience. So that is a really positive feeling. Yeah, you want to share something, Shirley?
I was thinking maybe in the next AFA, we can experience it.
Yeah, definitely we are expecting more people to contribute their new ideas and thoughts and also develop some creative programs, which relate back to another question that I would like to have for Shirley. Of course, during your session, we have seen in your slides quite a lot of data, percentages, and also the survey. I know through the promotion of no matter kind of veganism, vegetarianism, or animal welfare, we felt it's very important to have a strong database and science-based facts to persuade and to communicate with the industry and the stakeholders. But sometimes we feel that, oh my God, these information are too heavy for us to receive. It might be useful for us to communicate with strong information to persuade the industry. Well, when we are about to communicate with consumers, people like to have these fun and very connected photos and very impactful ones. How do you compromise or how do you tailor your information into these kind of scenarios?
Thanks, Jeff, for asking this question. So it comes back to the objective of the research and how will we plan to use the information. The research was designed to help plant-based food manufacturers to sharpen their communication message. This research also designed to provide the findings with like-minded organizations or government agencies aligned with the government's decarbonization, how food can contribute, and also China's Healthy China 2030. So this research is designed for B2B use mainly. For brands, I think, of course, no, we don't suggest them that to communicate these statistics to consumers. Brands, based on their offerings, can pick the benefits most motivating, in terms of purchase decision, and then convert it to consumer language. Usually, a brand's it's not possible to say that you offer benefits from number 1 to number 15. No, you will pick those that fit with your product offerings selectively and also convert it to a simpler language. Yeah, 2 or 3, for example. So yeah, the target is more for B2B, and to B2C, either the media or the brands or the government agencies, they need to convert the languages and with the images as you suggested to make it becomes information to consumers.
Jeff, may I add something on that? Because actually my workshop, the first session, knowing session, I use a lot of data from ProVeg's report. And it's very important for us to, when we are trying to translate, the accuracy, the scientific thing is very important. We need to show people animal activists are not only emotional animals, we also care for the science. And so I think rationally, this is also very important for us.
We can collaborate. I like your creativity. Thank you.
Definitely. During our engagements, definitely these kind of science-based facts will be the most useful tool to communicate and make us seen as not that kind of emotion-based. Instead of course, we are based on the recognition of these kind of sentient beings, sentience, anything. But the science is always playing a major role in influencing people's decision. And in the list, I know there was a few questions. What are the best practices for managing risks in China? I think this is very easy. This is very question. It depends on what kind of approaches you can develop and use your wit. There is not a common way to deal with the risks. It depends on what kind of risks. And just use your wit to design something that might be useful. I wouldn't want to elaborate more on that. But there are a few questions. One is, sorry, it's moved on. Yeah. Question to both the China Vegan Society and ProVeg. Do you collaborate with any government agencies or representatives in your work? If so, what kind of projects have you collaborated on? Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure. This year, actually, one of our activity is a trail running activity we held in Chongqing, Wulong. We collaborate with the Wulong government and the sports brand Salomon. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. ProVeg is the first officially approved international NGO in the space of alternative protein in China. So for all the activities we do, we collaborate with our supervisory unit, CPIT, focusing on international trade and commerce. So our business scope is how to promote, accelerate, support green food economy and facilitate international exchange in this domain. I use a research, for example, we collaborate with China Climate Center. We also collaborate with leading medical school in Shanghai and also the Shanghai Nutrition Society. Yeah, so all the activities we collaborate with government or government agencies. Not only because by law, now we have to collaborate with them. Through collaborations, they would also help to amplify our programs and giving with the exposures of these findings, informations to officials or policymakers. We also hope that this will influence their decisions, their consideration in future policies.
Yeah, I think finding the best fit in the national policy or strategy is very important for you to develop, for you to find the right partner to work with and develop the right strategy to collaborate with them. Then with this kind of impact, it will better persuade the relevant government department to recognize your contribution, and then will give you more approval for the better promotion. So it's a kind of positive circle going around.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, can I add one thing?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So the research doesn't just stop here. Now, we like to do this maybe every other year. We also hope to roll out the research to other markets in Asia. Now, so we can also do comparative analysis to find out that what worked, what didn't work, and how can we learn from each other market. So if you're interested to collaborate, let's talk after the meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, I think in all kinds of work related, it's very important to, no matter where we work, it's very important to respect the local situation and especially getting yourself connected to the local tradition and culture. Like at the end of last month, sorry, just one week ago, I was invited to speak at the African Farm Animal Welfare Conference, and which really reminded me that animal welfare movement is happening anywhere in the world, and it's very important to respect the local culture. Taking China, for instance, we try to relate in terms of the promotion of vegetarianism, possibly related back to the kind of religion and the culture and literature, anything that can be helpful for people to understand, and even the positive information about the diet and the healthy part of that. And that will be better received by the audience. I believe in Vietnam, if you related the kind of diet and healthy part of eating less or kind of alternative protein naturally embedded in their diet system, that will be better received by the recipients and also better respected by the government for better promotion. So let me see, we have 6 minutes and I will try to scroll down. What is the best way to influence government policy for animals in China? I think we have kind of answered that question in the last messages, right? Or anything you would like to add?
I can briefly comment on that. I think in China, it's, you can align your objective with the government's objectives. For example, I just mentioned that the transition to plant-rich diet also align with the government priority in food security, align with the government priorities in Healthy China 2030. It's a national drive. It also aligns with decarbonization 30 and 60. Yeah. So link our objectives with the government objectives, and you can also use the influencers approach, right, to find if you don't have direct government contact, try to find out who could be the influencers that help you to get to the decision maker. Yeah, but align the objectives. Yeah.
Yeah, in every country, I believe there are departments who are taking care of the priorities of the national strategy list. So it's important to get you connected to the right department, finding the right person, right people, and then move forward from there. I have a question here on the list with 2 votes. In some countries with certification labels, there have been an increase of meaningless welfare labels. Well, welfare labels to mislead consumers that say things like cruelty-free, but aren't. Do you think there is a risk of this humane washing in China? First of all, I would like to answer that question. I would say any label related to against the cruelty to animals in China and in Asia, that will be helpful. Of course, it depends on how you see it, the effectiveness of it. And it depends on how you evaluate. There is something better than nothing. So what's your opinion on that? We haven't come to the stage of going that deep into, seeing, I think, cruelty-free, if it can be in Asia, in China, on the label, it will be helpful for people to, in terms of public awareness, and also in some practical practices, reducing the animal cruelty. But of course, if they can be even better specifically designed or labeled, that will be better. But at this stage, I think that's good enough. Yeah. Do you have a?
As I introduced in the presentation, so it's the label. It's more like a signal for the general public. It shows there is this type of stuff in our market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of label, we are working on the cage-free kind of things. Of course, it has always been very difficult, in terms of design and getting approval, and even translate the message you want to deliver into the small tag on it, put there. It wouldn't cover everything, but just anything can give the consumer better knowledge about what they are purchasing will be helpful. And the last question, I know there was only 1 minute. This question, I would like to take it forward. Would love to hear regarding food animal laws, especially livestock and their welfare, if any. Thank you, Dr. Asfa. Yeah, I will take it very briefly. Until now, I wouldn't say there was a specific animal welfare, a farm animal welfare legislation level, national level, happened in China. Well, we have been trying so hard to work with stakeholders in the development of relevant codes of practice since 2014. I would say it's quite basic. It's at the organizational level, not reaching the ministry level or the national level. It's not a law, it's just a codes of practice as a suggestions to the relevant parties or producers to follow during their production system. Well, it's just like I said, it's there for not better than nothing. And we are encouraging more parties to getting involved in terms of development of the certification schemes or labeling system, can tell the consumers as educational tools to make a bigger voice for this kind of movement. I would say we have plenty of laws in China in terms of the animal welfare, animal production. I wouldn't specifically say, of course, we all understand that legislation is important, but implementation is even more important. And there are some kind of animal welfare factors can be reflected in these kind of husbandry law, for instance, in terms of the slaughtering method or the stocking density requirement. Of course, these are based on the expectation of better management or hygiene purposes. I do hope that there will be a day that legislation on animal welfare or anti-cruelty will be published or being launched in China. And especially when there's a long way to go, we just step by step moving forward and with the bearing a good hope for the future. And I would draw a conclusion for this session. And thank you so much for the three speakers for introduction of your work, your anticipation, and your experience for sharing. And do remember to take home the kind of award competition and the good, vegan summit, and also the workshop that Dani was leading. So everything will be waiting for us in future communication. And thank you all for joining us today, and hope you enjoy your time with this event in the following 2 days or couple of days. And thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.